Howdy guys, and welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build. Today we are building a small black farmhouse, and I hope you like how this house came out because I wasn't sure, about the outside or like what I was really doing. I almost kind of gave up on this, and then I started doing the inside. I was like, you know what, this is actually really nice. I really like how this is going. I almost didn't build this house, but here we are. Here is the speed build for it, and I just wanted to apologize for being like very, I guess, absent for the last couple of weeks. The last couple of weeks have been kind of very busy and very anxiety filled for me because I don't know if you guys know, but I was taking driving lessons so I could get my license, and well, on Wednesday I actually got it. I actually finally have my driving license, my full actual driving license. Like, I can drive independently wherever I want to go now, and I'm just so incredibly excited. I've had my permit for like 10 years. I think it's been around 7 years since I took the last test, and I have really bad test anxiety. Like, you can give me a book and test me on it, and I will promise you I will forget any chapter or any excerpt I read in the book that you're like asking me about, and I will forget about that. I will forget it, how to add. I'll forget, how to do basic stuff like that, just because the test anxiety racks my brain so hard. And that's what was happening with the test. I was just forgetting what I needed to do, just the basic stuff, like on one attempt of my test, I forgot to put my truck in reverse, so I almost drove through the bushes, and then on my next attempt I ran over a cone because I forgot to, check all of my corners and stuff like that, just because I got so excited because I finally got that uphill downhill parking question right, and I was like, all right, let's go do the rest of the test. And then I ran over the cone and it was just like an immediate fail, I guess. And yeah, so after that I was like, you know what, I'm good with taking the test. I'm not taking the test anymore. So yeah, that happened on Wednesday, and I kind of took the rest of the day off because I already had this house built. I built this house to try and lower my anxieties and stop, the feeling of my heart about to beat out of my chest. It was so incredibly nerve-wracking. I was so terrified for this test. So I built this house, and then I was going to do a voiceover on the day that I got my license, my test day, but I was like, you know what, I am far too like anxious and excited, and I'm just going to take the day and chill and do whatever I want because I feel like I deserve it. So I didn't want to focus on doing a voiceover for that day, and I was like, I don't want to upload this without a voiceover, so we'll just wait. So fast forward to the next day. I had food poisoning. I was going to do the voiceover the next day, but I ended up getting sick with food poisoning from eating bad chicken. And that was just absolutely horrible. Like, what a way to start off the end of my week, And I think after that, I was just like, I was still recovering the next day, but fortunately for me, when I get food poisoning, it only lasts like under 10 or so hours. So it was fine by like the afternoon. My sister was nice enough to make me a garlic burger for dinner because I was supposed to make dinner that night, but my sister ended up making it for me, which is just really nice. And then yesterday was my sister's birthday, so I was like, I'm not gonna do anything on her birthday. So yep, here we are, finally doing my voiceover on a Sunday. By the time you guys are watching it, it might be a Monday or a Tuesday, just because it takes me so long to do the subtitles. I input them all manually, just because I know YouTube's automatic subs can kind of be a pain in the butt and not be totally accurate, so I like to do that all by myself. Oh, I also wanted to know what you guys think about my little social cards in the start of the video. I thought I would put them in the video somewhere, like maybe at the start of the video, or maybe it would make more sense to put them at the end of the video. Like, I don't know, you guys let me know how you like them or not, because I do put all of the links to all of my socials in the description down below, but I wanted to put them up on the screen somewhere just so you guys, can have them right there in case, and then, just know that the links themselves are down below. in the description, so you don't actually have to go and type anything. You can just go to the description and click on the links there and have access to all of my other social media. Anyways, I'm just so glad I am finishing up this video because I have another build that I want to do, but I was like, I can't start it until I do at least the voiceover for this one and get it, you know, kind of uploaded to YouTube and stuff. So we are working on the kitchen. We have done so much, and I'm so sorry for talking over so much of the build, but we're working on the kitchen, and that side of the home I imagine was an old barn, and it had been recently renovated into a more contemporary sort of space, and the more long ways adjacent part of the build is a new addition, so it has like newer wood and stuff. I wish I had that sort of reclaimed wood look that you can find in Eco Lifestyle. I love that wood pattern so much, but I don't have Eco Lifestyle, so I couldn't use it. I think I might get that pack next whenever I can I guess afford it, because I need that wood so bad. It is such a pretty wood. Eco Lifestyle has so much cool stuff that I would just love to build with, so maybe in the future I can go ahead and get it. But I love how this kitchen came out. It is so very open and airy and spacious. There's not a lot of cabinets, but I think there's enough like space, you know, like storage space where it would be, you know, kind of nice, you know, and still very effective and stuff. I don't know. I love the kitchen, and I love the, you know, a little dining room here too that I end up doing. I love the colors in this house. I tried not to do green again, but look at how pretty the green is, okay? These colors are just so gorgeous, and they all just go so well together. I love the green and the wood tone with like the cream colors, and it's just so beautiful. And of course, like this rug really tied it all in together very nicely, I think. And I told you, you guys were gonna see that rug a lot more often now that I have discovered the other swatches for it. So I do use it a few times in this build, and for that I am sorry. I have a fixation right now. So a lot of my builds are going to include those rugs now. And if you don't like them, you guys are totally free to change them if you so much as want to. But I think they look very lovely right there. And the fireplace kind of drove me up a wall a little bit because I decided that the chimney was not going to be centered, and I don't know, the windows just not exactly being centered on that wall was like kind of annoying too. But I tried to center them on the wall between where that chimney is. I don't know. You guys let me know how you guys like that. I love symmetry so much, but I know that there is, oh, what is that rule that they say? There is like harmony in asymmetry or something like that. Like good things come in threes, you know? So like things that are odd, you know? Like if you have like a console table, you don't want things to be super balanced like on one side and the other, you know, you have two things on one side and then two things on the other, you know. It's always better to like have stuff that's just not symmetrical sometimes, and it just looks better. I don't know what the psychology is behind that, and you know, I am someone who has taken psychology for a few years, and I don't know why it just looks so much better. It just does. So that's what I try to use in my homes, is just asymmetry, because it just looks better, you know. Is why I use stuff in threes a lot, and 3 is just a very powerful and magical number when working on interior design, I believe. But look at this little bookshelf nook area that I make. So I haven't really played with the Dream Home Decorator snappable furniture, so I kind of fiddled around with it a lot, you know, just playing around with it because I've just never used it before, and it was so interesting, and I was like, you know what, we're gonna use it this time. And I know that this little makeshift sort of desk area I make is probably not the best. Like, I don't think it could actually be used as a desk or anything. Like, I know it can't be used as a desk in The Sims, but like, even in real time, I just don't think it would be a comfortable space to work in. But it looks cute, and that's all that matters, right? I mean, who was going to use that? I don't know. So I just threw like a little tablet on there and just called it a day, and I really just loved doing that little bookshelf area. I even do it for the little office nook area that I make. end up putting like a little keyboard in there, and it just ends up coming together so nicely. You know, now I've moved on from like, I don't know, making houses where Sims who enjoy plants, you know, would live. So there's not a lot of plants, but now it appears that all of my builds are going to include musical instruments like keyboards and guitars, you know, and I just hope you guys enjoy that. I do think I put an easel out somewhere in this build too. I love how this house came out. I really was not sold on it at first. And actually, this house came about because I found old graph paper with like little doodles and like a floor plans of houses. And I was like, oh, well, this one looks kind of interesting. Let's make it. And then I started to build it. I was like, oh, this is actually really weird now, isn't it? So I kind of pushed through it because I was like, okay, I want to see what I can do with it. I don't think the exterior is its strongest quality, but I do love the inside. I love this deep and rich green wall color that I used for like an accent wall color. I don't know why I love it so much. I don't know why I love green so much right now, but you guys cannot deny that green just looks so beautiful in The Sims, as it should be, because green is like the Sims color, you know? It is like their mascot icon color, you know? The plum bob is green, so of course green just has to be the absolute best color swatch in the whole game. You guys have to agree with me. If you don't, you know, tell me what your favorite color swatch to use in The Sims is. Like, what is your default go-to in The Sims? Because for me, I feel like it's green and just wood tones, you know? Alright, enough about my debating on which color is the best color in The Sims. I struggled a lot with this little hallway type area. I wanted to put something here, but I didn't want to put a whole lot just because it's supposed to be a main walkway, and I don't know, I think I could have done better with that space, but I don't know what like I could have done. I really don't know what I would have done there. Anyways, I like it. Okay, it's simple, you know, it's not too much. Maybe I could have put like an accent wall or something behind it. I don't know. But we are going to be working on the bedrooms now. I think we are working on the master bedroom suite, and I love it because I really wanted to use these like beige tones. And that's something I don't use a lot in my builds because I've lived in very beige houses and I've just not been very much of a fan of the color beige, you know. But it really worked out in this room, and I gave it like a yellow accent color just to kind of warm it up a bit. And I really like that yellow rug right there. I want to use it in the future, but I didn't think it really worked for the space that well, so I went with the Dream Home Decorator rug in yellow because that is such a pretty rug. I just really love this bedroom. It seems very relaxing to lay in and very comfortable and very, I don't know, I guess just very welcoming. I really like how this master bedroom came out. Normally I don't enjoy my bedrooms too much. I'm more of a kitchen and living room type person, you know. If the kitchen and living room look good, you know, I am very happy. That's just, you know, my preference. But the second bedroom, I really struggled a lot with the colors. I loved the beige master bedroom so much, and I wanted to do that again in here, but I was like, you know, this room is probably for like a child or a teenager, and they would probably want something a little bit more characteristic, so we end up going for a blue and off-white and wood tone theme, which just ended up working out so well because that bed matches so good. Okay, I did not plan that at all. When I happened on that swatch, I was like, oh my gosh, it's perfect. This room was just meant to be, you know, this color combination. And I did mean to put like a an ottoman kind of by the little wardrobe area that I made, but I didn't. And I thought about going back and putting it in there, but I was like, you know what? All right, you know, if you guys want to, when you guys play in it, I think a little ottoman or a little stool or something right there would look so cute, you know, for your sim to sit down on and while they put on their shoes or something, you know. But yeah, considering I struggled so much trying to figure out what theme I wanted to have surround this room, I think it turned out pretty cute. I would totally live in this room. Blue is such a soothing color, you know, it's very calming and it is so nice, and I just feel like this room radiates calmness. I put a little desk here in the corner just for some little private homework time or private doodle time or whatever, just away from the rest of the house, and I put this really cute painting behind the desk, and it's so lovely. I love that painting so much. But anyways, here we are getting into the screenshots now. I'm gonna get out of y'all's hair, and I will leave you with these. just wanted to thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video today. If you liked how this house came out and you've decided you want to go and play with it, my gallery ID is in the description down below. You can go and download it and play in it and just have fun with it. I am gonna get going now, but I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.